Bobby Aylward, 30 seconds.
I want to ask the Minister for Rural and Community Development his plans to ensure the viability and sustainability of towns and villages in rural Ireland that have lost out or are losing the local post office, and I will make a statement on the matter. I also want to not just post office. I think the decline in, I know your answer here, the decline in rural Ireland with pubs going, public houses going, post offices going, Garda Bally's going, rural Ireland is in decline and we need to revamp it quick.
Ministers, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Deputy. My colleague, the Minister for Communications, Climate Action and Environment, has policy responsibility for the postal sector. However, I am acutely aware of the value placed by rural communities on services such as the local post offices. Investment in rural Ireland is taking place right across government. The Action Plan for Rural Development is a comprehensive cross-government plan which sets out a wide range of measures focused on supporting and building sustainable communities, growing jobs and enterprises, improving access to services, maximising tourism, culture and heritage access, and improving connectivity in rural areas. The third progress report on the Action Plan was published in recent weeks and confirmed the progress being made, with more than 95% of the actions completed are advanced. The €1 billion investment provided through the Rural Regeneration and Development Fund will also bring positive benefits to our rural communities. I was delighted to announce the first group totalling 18 projects to be supported by the fund last month. My department is also continuing to support the many vibrant towns and villages across rural Ireland through a range of other schemes and supports. The evidence of impact can be seen in the growing opportunities for employment and improved quality of life across rural Ireland. Of particular importance for those towns and villages most disadvantaged in terms of access to services are the TAR programme, the Community Enhancement Programme, the Town and Village Renewal Scheme and the funding being provided to our public libraries. Additional funding delivered through the Community Services Programme, the LEADER Programme, the Social Inclusion and Community Activation Programme provides supports tailored to the specific needs of individual areas. The Government is continuing to explore ways to sustain the viability of post offices network into the future. In October last, the Department of Communications, Climate Action and the Environment launched a new digital assist pilot initiative with An Post. 10 locations across the country will act as pilots for the provision of new services. I am delighted that my department has been able to provide funding of 80,000 for this programme.
Right. First question, Deputy Aylward.
The dismantling of the rural post office network continues across the country. We had lost 2 important local post offices in South Kilkenny and Mullavat and more recently, and another one to close in the next 2 months in Kilmegany, all in South Kilkenny. Following the retirements of 2 long-serving postmasters who gave many years of dedicated service to respective communities. Despite the huge levels of community activism in Mullavat and the hundreds of submissions made to An Post independent assessors, the decision stood and the door shut. The closure of post offices in Mullavat and Demo and the hundreds similar closure echoes in towns and villages around the country reflect a further degradation of service in rural Ireland under this government. The government claims it has no operational responsibility for An Post, but as far as I am concerned, the buck stops with them. If they had the foresight to implement the recommendations contained in the Kerr report when it was furnished in 2016 regarding the need of additional services to be made available to post office, the likes of Mullavat and Demo would have had the chance to increase their footfall and maximise their commercial viability. We could have saved many of the rural post offices now under threat of closure if immediate action was taken at ministerial levels, and that's directed at you, Minister.
Minister, 1 minute.
I have only a minute because I wish I had more time, because I have a list of all the post offices that have all closed. And I could tell you, I could go back and I'd be here for 25 minutes. I'd be here for 20... Now,
Minister, Deputy, Minister...
Really,
Minister,
it's a pity, Deputy, that your government... I didn't interrupt you now. I didn't. I let you talk.
Deputy,
I let you talk.
Please, the Minister
I
answer
didn't
the question.
interrupt you. If your government was concerned about post offices when this country was awash with money, if they gave them the services that they needed, we wouldn't have any closure of post office. Now listen, this government didn't close any post offices in the last few months. Now you listen now. People took the packages. They were given the opportunity. They got the packages. And what's happening? And let's be honest about it now and stop the nonsense about the post office. I'll give you an example. There was a post office in my own county. 500 people turned up at a public meeting. 500. Now, I'm going to tell you how many of them bought TV licences. There was 352 families. 52 TV licences were bought in that post office for that year. Two things happened. One, they either had no licences, which I don't believe, or they went elsewhere to get their licences.
Okay.
Now, if they want to keep rural post offices open, even the ones we have opened, they'll have to start using them. And not be calling into public meetings by, but in all fairness, people weren't taken back.
Come on.
I actually then got a post office. They advertised it twice. They couldn't get anyone to take it.
Final question from Deputy Aylward.
It's obvious you're getting angry that I get under your skin because you know what fact I'm talking facts that if I close down. And talk about what Fianna Fáil did back years ago. Is that your job is to rule now as minister and to make decisions now? And why wouldn't old people, old postmasters are in their 70s and 80s or even in their 60s and 70s take the package? Of course they would, I would too. But that's no reason why the post office should be closed down. In Mullavat we had a meeting the same as yours, 400 and 500 people. We made an appeal system. It was laughable. Appeal system. They made this decision about the local post office being so many kilometres and about the population. All these things just to close down. What about the people that wanted the post office? It's more than a business where you get stamps and get your pension. It's also a social outlet. That's not taken into consideration. Rural Ireland wants to be kept alive. By closing the post office, not going to keep it alive. You're making people travel to neighbouring villages that they haven't even transport to travel to. It's a laugh, Minister. The appeal system is a laugh. It's closing down post office by underhand ways. That's all it is. Where people, I'm asking you, where people want to keep their post office, where there's a local supermarket or a local business willing to take in that supermarket, that should be allowed by the people to keep it going, and one that is viable. And I heard you here 3 or 4 times yourself standing up here and telling us you're going to come on forward with proposals to make them sustainable. And I never heard one thing back about that until we got the word that all these post offices are going to be closed down. Now, Minister, stand up and say, why didn't you make these sustainable? And why didn't you come back with the money and give us that money to keep these post offices sustainable? And don't be going on with that crap.
Minister Ring to respond. 1 minute.
Well, Deputy, the hypocrisy you sometimes just second me. You close more post offices and we close very little post offices. You asked what I did. I provided 80,000 last year to see where we can get more services for post offices. Now look just take people taxing their car. Nearly 88% of the people of this country now tax their car online. What we need to do is quite correct, is give them more services that people will use. Now, people are living in a more modern age now. They have their computers, they have their internet, they want to do business in a different way. I want to keep as many post offices as possible open. But I'd say to the general public out there, if you want your post office opened, if you want your small shop opened, if you want your services in rural Ireland, you have to start using them. You cannot be passing the door every day. And if it was like the lady, she called the public meeting in Mayo. 300, 400 people turned up. They all signed up what they were going to do to keep this post office open. She was on the local radio and she quenched one of your colleagues awful quick. She said, you were there yourself, she said. And she said, I didn't see many since then. I'm now closing the post office and I'm only sorry for the elderly people that depend on it, not for anybody else. That's what she said.
Next question, Deputy.